Joe Biden gives his first press conference, and we look into the questions that were asked, and more importantly, the questions that were not asked. Oakland begins giving low-income families of color UBI, and Evanston becomes the first city in the United States to approve reparation payments for Black residents. These stories and more on your March 26th Not So News update. Please like and subscribe if you're looking for daily news content, and let's dive on in. Starting us off from Axios, I'm going to put this as the first article that's linked in the description below. Highlights from Biden's first press conference as president. Axios lays out that Biden gave his updates as one of the latest, or the last presidents. He gave it later than any of the other ones previously. He was inaugurated 64 days ago, which is significantly later than when when Trump or Obama gave their first press conferences. And Axios does a pretty good job at laying out some of the major issues. Specifically, he announced how he is upping the coronavirus vaccination goal to 200 million doses. And then he also breaks into issues of immigration, filibuster, and more. NBC News actually did a fact check on the Biden and his comments related to the migrant surge that he made during the press conference. In the article, they state President Joe Biden defended his administration's handling of a surge in undocumented migrant children arriving at the U.S.-Mexico border Thursday, arguing that the influx happens every single solitary year. Notably, what we need to look at is this type of surge and this type of handling of the surge did not happen under Trump. This is what the major issue is. The truth of the matter is nothing has changed, he told reporters at the White House, who pressed him on whether his election had drawn more migrants to the southern border. Biden also sought to cast blame on former President Donald Trump, arguing his predecessor's policies hamstrung U.S. efforts to effectively address the challenges. Here's what Biden said in the facts. Claim, the border surge is akin to past year. The truth of the matter is nothing has changed. As many people came, 28% increase in children to the border in my administration, 31% in 2019 before the pandemic, the Trump administration. The president said it happens every single solitary year. There's a significant increase in the number of people coming to the border winter months of January, February, March. It happens every year. Biden is right that the colder months typically bring in a surge of border crossing, but his numbers on children are wrong. There's a 28% surge in apprehensions at the southern border from January to February of this year. The most recent and complete data from the Customs and Border Protection available right now, the Trump administration saw a 31% surge, so similar numbers, but Biden specifically mentions children, and that's where his facts are incorrect. There's a far bigger surge of unaccompanied minor children right now than there was 2 years ago. From January to February 2019, there was a 31% surge in children stopped by CBP. From January to February 21, there was a 61% surge. That is almost double happening, and this is specifically a result of Biden's rhetoric when it comes to unaccompanied children and minors at the border and how he would not be sending them back. Additionally, Biden made remarks on the filibuster and how he wanted to do reform in making it so that it required more stress on whoever was doing the filibuster. And Schumer comes out justifying that Schumer comes out justifying the Democrats' use of the filibuster in the past. He's stated, the big difference is that we were always willing to negotiate in a bipartisan way. Mitch McConnell isn't. The bills he puts on the floor, even when he calls them bipartisan, aren't, Schumer said Thursday, citing the first year of the CARES Act that Republicans put on the floor last year to respond to the pandemic, as well as legislation to respond to high-profile incidents of police brutality. Schumer made his comments in response to a question about why Democrats thought it was okay to use the filibuster to block elements of Trump's agenda from 2017 to 2020, but now we're discussing rules reforms to take away Republicans' power to filibuster. This is something that we discussed at length when it came to Obama saying that the filibuster was a Jim Crow relic and all the Democrats signing on board. Notably, Bernie Sanders was one of the most proponent voices saying that the filibuster was racist, and then he goes and for 4 years was one of the most active senators when it came to using the filibuster. Essentially what we see here is it's okay when we do it because we're the high and mighty, but it's evil when you do so. Finally, Biden said during the press conference that he expects to run for a second term. This would make him, without a doubt, the oldest president. In the conference, he said, In the first news conference of his presidency, President Biden confirmed his plans to run for re-election in 2024. That is my expectation, he told reporters, noting the endeavor is several years away. I'm a great respecter of fate. I've never been able to plan 3.5 years ahead for certain, he said. I set a goal that's in front of me to get things done for the people I care about most, which are hardworking, decent American people. Asked whether President Harris would join him as his running mate for the re-election bid, Biden said he fully expects that to be the case. She's doing a great job. She's a great partner, he said. As to whether he might face President Donald Trump as the Republican opponent, Biden said he wasn't thinking that far ahead. Oh, come on. I have no idea, he said. I have no idea whether there will be a Republican Party. Do you? Obviously, it would be very interesting to say the least if there was a 2024 Donald Trump versus Joe Biden campaigns. Coming out of the Hill, though, we look at the questions not asked to President Biden, specifically coming from Fox's Peter Doocy, snubbed at first Biden's press conference. President Biden offered no questions to Fox News' Peter Doocy as his first on-air press conference since taking office on Thursday, drawing criticism from Doocy and other Fox personalities. Doocy sounded off on Fox after the roughly hour-long event, remarking that the president faced no questions about COVID-19 during the presser and would also have faced questions from Doocy on his $1.9 trillion stimulus package, as well had he had the chance. I mentioned last night that I had a binder full of questions. I think some people were kidding. I was not, Doocy said, leafing through a binder while on camera. We had a lot to do, and most of the stuff the president did not get to. There really were not a lot of questions about COVID, particularly the investigation on the origins of it. We did not get on board with that. Nobody else asked about that. I think it's notable to say that everyone says that Biden is a return to normalcy. But we cannot have a return to normalcy that just means the Democrats asking the Democrat stations questions. We need to see challenges against the Biden administration, and notably we did see that with the earlier NBC News fact check. However, we cannot just leave it to the NBC organization to fact check Democrats. We do expect Fox to be able to question the administration as well, as that was the norm under Trump, to have questions coming from the opposition. Looking at race relations within the United States, coming out of NBC's Chicago, Evanston becomes the first city in the U.S. to approve reparation payments to Black residents. In the article, they state that Evanston became the first city in the United States to back reparations for Black residents on Monday, approving the plans of a $400,000 budget in the historic vote. The Evanston City Council approved the local reparations restorative housing program and program budget resolution by an 8-1 vote on Monday night, putting the final touches on a program that was first approved in 2019. Evanston officials said the program will give Black families in Evanston $25,000 in funds to use for the purpose of buying or improving homes, as well as mortgage assistance. And in a similar manner, reported by CNN, Oakland will give low-income families of color $500 per month, no strings attached. Low-income families of color in Oakland, California could receive some extra financial assistance over the next year and a half. Oakland Mayor Libby Schaaf announced this week that the city will launch a guaranteed income project to give hundreds of Black and Indigenous families and people of color $500 per month for 18 months. The project payments will be unconditional, and recipients may spend the money however they choose. The Oakland Resilient Families Program is the latest trial of a guaranteed income system, a wealth redistribution, where residents are given a set amount of money per month to supplement the existing social safety net. I need to see criticism coming from the left for these types of policies that are exactly what you would expect from a racist organization. This is something you would expect out of the KKK, to say that only a particular race should be getting welfare from the state. This is the same racist programs that we saw back earlier in the United States history. Just substituting white for Black would demonstrate and get the outrage from the left. What we see here is blatant hypocrisy when it comes to race relations in the United States, how to treat other races, and what we should see if we are going to do any type of wealth redistribution is it to go to all individuals that are in poverty. It should not be targeting just those that are Black and poor. It should be going to every single individual, as every individual faces poverty in similar ways. And this is your March 26th Not So News update. Once again, please like and subscribe if you're looking for daily news content, and have a good one.